Okay, truth to be told, we know that Canon's always been lagging behind when it comes to releasing new cameras and putting all their eggs in one basket. And they finally did that with the Canon R5. They put everything that you can possibly think of as a photographer into this camera, with the exception of all the news that you've heard: overheating, overheating, overheating. And if you YouTube like Canon R5, overheating, that's all they talk about. Taking a step back, I finally placed an order for my R5. This was about a day ago. And then Sony decided to do this. 50 megapixel, 4K 120, probably most likely with no overheating, or maybe, who knows. 30 frames per second, super high ISO, you know Sonys are great with that. Probably slightly better dynamic range. Again, IBIS, Canon's got IBIS now, finally. 8K 30 frames, zero blackout, 240 hertz EVF. Pretty sweet. Electronic shutter with no distortion, or like a little bit of distortion. Flicker-free electronic shutter. Digital audio interface. That's pretty interesting for videographers. Dual card slot video recording. I really like that about the Sonys. Why? Hold on, let me fix this. This is terrible. By the way, you guys like the haircut? I know most of you guys who see me on YouTube, I'm typically wearing a hat or something like that because that's what YouTubers do. They put on a hat and not need to worry about it. Anyway, scratch that. Let's be honest, Sony has really taken the market for a very long time, and Canon was always playing catch up, and finally they came up with the R5. And even for me as a photographer that was shooting with the 5D Mark IV to the EOS R, it took them a very long time to finally come up with a camera, and you know, they threw everything into the basket and said, let's go roll with this. It's a $4,000 camera. It's pretty expensive for not the 1 series type of camera. But what's interesting to me is what these two companies are doing, Sony and Canon. They're gonna be battling it out no matter what. Back when we were shooting with DSLRs, camera manufacturers like Canon, Nikon, with the exception of Sony because they went straight into mirrorless, they were launching cameras every 2.5, 3 years. Now, I feel like we're seeing a dramatic change in the industry when it comes to cameras. Now, you guys know me, I'm a Canon fanboy. I've stuck with Canon for a very long time, but it took so long for Canon to keep up, and I did itch and kind of wanted to pull the trigger on Sony and kind of go into their system. Their lenses are smaller, they have amazing 1.8, 1.4 glass, and they're very small and compact, very appealing to us wedding photographers. And finally, Canon came up with the R5, and all I heard was overheating, so it kind of delayed my ordering process, and even now, it's really hard to find this camera. The R5 is a very hard camera to find. It's such limited quantity, maybe because this whole pandemic situation, manufacturers are not cutting it in terms of producing enough units, but it's pretty hard to find. So I finally was able to order one. It's coming in a few days. I wanted to do a video on it, and then Sony does this. So I think the 3-year cycle of cameras are basically been erased. That will no longer be the issue. They're just pumping out these cameras with spec. And it's really incredible. It's really incredible what they're doing. And it's awesome for us creative people, us photographers, videographers, because we now ultimately have the hand on deciding what we want to use. And I think for the near future, it's going to be really interesting to watch. But with that said, guys, if you guys like this video, just kind of pop-up news. You know, I'm about to get my hands on an R5 finally, and Sony does this, so really interesting. But yeah, I mean, if you guys like this video, I would really appreciate that. Like, subscribe for future videos like this, but I'm going to do more tech kind of review type stuff and probably doing some more tutorials because I think that would be pretty cool to share with you guys. So with that said, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Why?